We out here, episode 5, part dos. So we're finishing up our talk with Mr. Agostinho de Silva, aka the Vanta Lord himself. I had so much fun, like I had said in the first part of the episode previous, that this man is amazing. He's hilarious, he's poignant. Like I had so much fun, and I hope, Agostino, you will be willing to come back. And I also hope that, the next time that we see each other, it may be in person. Maybe. Um, Enjoy the second half. It was a lot of fun. So what is one of the things that you actually can't stand? Like, you're such a positive person that I don't think we've brought up anything negative about you yet. So I want to know, like, what are some of the things that like get on your last nerve, whether it's about people or things or cancel culture, whatever it is. Like, what's something that annoys the living daylights out of you?
When someone has a dream in the early stages and then it gets crushed by someone that doesn't believe in them. That is something that will always, hurt me very, very, very deeply. Especially because of all the times that it happened to me. Like you just hear my ideas. You know that I'm not afraid of the concept of someone being a trillionaire. I'm like, someone's gonna become a trillionaire. Let it be the guy that wants everyone to be a trillionaire. You get me? What? Someone's just gonna become a trillionaire off of like cryptocurrency, and then they'll buy an island somewhere and then keep it a secret, right? And I feel like it's so important to let ideas incubate. Man, like when we don't let ideas incubate, we set ourselves back in the world. Like if we get hit by a meteor today, I promise that could have been avoided if we lived in a society that let ideas incubate, because someone would have already sorted out the situation regarding us getting to Mars or Jupiter or wherever. I feel like so many ideas would have gone through because there are so many people out there that have these wonderful thoughts and these wonderful minds, but just the pain that comes with the loneliness. Of being exiled the moment you actually seriously pursue your vision. It's not something that I expect most people to be able to withstand. And really, just like the positive that comes out of actually accomplishing your goals and achieving your dreams, that's really only reserved for the people that can withstand, that isolation and that pain, that moment, where just the years of my life where I was working on the whole Vanta Lord thing and the evolution thing, and I didn't have a following. You get me? Where I would look at anyone next to me and take a little breadcrumb. That's definitely, I think, top of the list. Top of the list in terms of like things that I just can't stand, like someone crushing someone else's dreams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that, it sounds like you said really quickly, is that something that happened a lot to you when you were younger, like in school, or was it a family thing? Like, I assume that now that you're basically Brad Pitt, just black, your family's like super excited, and supportive and everything. Like, how did that go growing up and up until, I guess, up until now?
Dude, I had a fight with my mom last week because she's like, "You're not gonna get a Lamborghini." I don't even want a Lamborghini. I just don't like it when people tell me I can't get one. Like, can can I get one now? No, but like I'll get one. It's not that serious. It's just a car. Like, I mean, car building cities. It's really small on the scale of things that I plan to do. So it's a little bit offensive. You get what I'm saying? But I've come to realize it's unavoidable. You know, it's really. I tell people all the time. I'm like, yo, I felt my most famous around between 2,000 followers and 10,000 followers. I think
Mm-hmm.
like when I had 19,000, I was like, oh, there was this one episode of the Powerpuff Girls, yeah? And there was
Mm-hmm.
this cop who always ate donuts. He was the worst cop. He was so fat. And then he'd always be like, oh, promotion time. And he'd keep giving himself a promotion. So I saw like 19,000 followers and I was like, oh, promotion time. And, and what, what was crazy for me is that when I was on vacation, I was in my friend's apartment, yeah? And I was like sleeping on his wonderful couch. And then I woke up and then I saw that my follower count went from 500 something something to 600 something something overnight because like two of my videos had gone viral. And then I looked at it and then I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then like I changed position and then I went back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, I was like, when I fully woke up, yeah, I was like, man, that's it's so interesting how it just jumped like 100,000 in a night, but that 19,000 had me more excited, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I kind of took it to like the friends and family situation of like the people that like doubt you and whatnot, yeah. And for me, it's a thing where I eventually had to come to a stage where I had to realize that these people, their perception of me comes from maybe a month or a year after they met me, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because those are like the best memories of when you meet someone and stuff, yeah? And of course, like I love that my personality seems to be taken very well by a lot of people, you know. I feel like a good energy with you and stuff. I feel very comfortable, like I can be myself, you know. But then it's like some people digest me as you know, arrogant, cocky, you know. And I'm like, you know what, you are pretty correct, actually, to be honest. I'm like, I'm very arrogant, I'm very cocky,
No,
and
you're
honestly,
not.
it served me it's it is what it is. It's a situation where like I don't take the same I don't take those words the way most people take those words. Like because I think most people come at it from a perspective of it's like what you said earlier where it's like I don't think I'm a better person than you. I just think my work is better than yours.
Yeah.
My version of that is like I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just think I'm the best. You see? And it's a thing where I'm like, I have to remind people close to me. It's like, bro, like don't get offended, you know, by my vision, by my dreams, you know, like if I'm not keen to like, you know, be like work in an office job, you know, and like crunch numbers all day, then that's my journey.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And when you kind of get this dude who maybe in my parents' case, you met this guy as like a baby, this guy couldn't walk. Now this guy is chatting that he wants to universalize freedom. You're like, brother, that doesn't connect with my image of this person, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you get like your friends who met you like I was super like overweight when I was 13, but I was like happy as ever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, like I look like a superhero and I got abs and whatnot, and I'm like, you know. But it's a thing of they still have that image of like this like you know like jolly you know 13-year-old kid like clean shaven. Like people wouldn't believe it. I actually have a baby face under this beard. Like I can like 17 real quick, but, but they get like stuck in that image before you started doing the work to get to where you're going, and then I mean from there they kind of like won't let you progress.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to very difficult conversations, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
they don't see like for you, like with you for example, people don't really see the behind the scenes. Like I was checking out your website when you sent the link and I was like, yeah, effort. Like when you sent the form to prepare for this interview, I was like, effort. This took time, you know. And like so I'm sure when you were on evolution.com you looked and you were like,
Mm-hmm.
effort.
Mm-hmm. A lot of effort.
Right? So it's like creators, like we definitely, you know, understand, or like volutionists, as I'll say, right? We definitely like understand how much it takes to do. We know how difficult it is to do, right? And like the people outside of that that want to go down a more, traditional path, less creative, they don't necessarily understand how much effort it takes to even make it like a quarter of the way there, halfway there. How much effort it takes to even speak about your own ideas fluidly, because ideas won't always be fully formed. Yeah. And I struggle with this. So I'm not telling anyone they need to like be on this level, but I think we definitely need to have more empathy for the people that do not believe in us, because they most certainly do not believe in themselves. They definitely make that evident the moment they try to step on anything that we try to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, I just had an argument about the Lambo. So I am not here preaching from my soapbox with my halo and whatnot. Like I'll literally cut someone off right now if they tell me I can't do something. Be like, you're bad for my energy. You're bad for my energy. Go away. Please. Please. Man, you did not hear this from me. You did not hear this from me. He's not a good person. He's a bad, bad dude. But Donald Trump was a very entertaining human being. Just,
Yeah.
I was like, man, so this guy was president.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
I know.
ah.
It's with Donald Trump, I don't like him as a human. Like he's just there's so I could go on forever about it. But the reason I believe that he's gotten to the point where he was able to be the leader of the free world is because he's so fucking entertaining. Like whether you agree with him or not, like it's just like you really just said that. What did you just say? What? And it's just like good entertainment. That's why he was a good like what's that show that he had? You're Fired. I forget the name of the show, but he, yeah, and I never understood why, but now after having him as president, now that he's gone, I'm just like he was entertainment. Like even if you didn't believe in anything that he said, like you, somehow he just
Let
sucked you
me.
in.
So in South Africa, there was a period where South Africa had a president named Jacob Zuma, yeah? And Jacob Zuma once had a situation where he was like, you can get rid of AIDS by taking a shower. He would say a bunch of stuff like that.
What?
And yeah, basically.
Oh my god!
So it's like a thing where when Donald Trump became president, I remember everyone was freaking out. And I literally just grabbed the popcorn. I was like, oh my word, it's Jacob Zuma 2.0. This the news just got lit again. But the reason why I bring that up, yeah, is that this guy, Donald Trump, became president. Yeah. Donald Trump became, one more time, Donald Trump became president. But so and so is telling Sally that she can't open a bakery. And that is so
Yes.
disturbing. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
This
Mm-hmm.
it's just a bakery. You
Mm-hmm.
get me?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like friends, well, friends, family, biological family. I can't even. you know, I think it's been the most difficult part for me. Yeah, definitely in my journey, just like the support aspect. I mean, that's why I started Volution. Definitely at its core, it's for all of like the hyper weirdos. You get me? It's for the people that really do think that their work is the best and they're right. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people think it, but it's not actually true. A lot of people think their work is the best and they're right. In Steve Jobs' book, he was, well, maybe not him, but said that he said that it's not that A players can't work with anyone or they can't collaborate. It's that they like to work with A players. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a thing of like, if you get the iPhone, you get like the nice lightning connector. You can do
Mm-hmm.
that. Like you asked me, before, it's like, do you have a Mac? Why? So that we could like be on the same wavelength as to how we were gonna do things technologically speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a situation where with Evolution, the goal is 100% to get the A players together so that we can share our dreams, share our visions, and that like no one can stop us, and that we can get to like the flying cars and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think when you are, it's just like, they say, you become the person that you hang out with. So always hang out with the best versions of those people so that you become the best version of yourself. And I think that totally is not just for life, but like especially as an artist. Like if you are an artist and you work with people who are just like half-assing doing their work, or they don't believe in themselves, or if they are like there for the worst reasons or whatever, then you feed off of that. That energy, you feed off of it, right? And so yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that you have to have people that are at the most elite version of themselves in order for you to still continue to grow as an artist and as a person in general, honestly. Um, and it's you creating this secret society. You definitely are going in the right direction, because what I have learned as a creative is that everyone and their mother can say that they're creative, but if they're not willing to do the work, if they're not willing to look at themselves as a person in order to feed that creativity, then they can't continue to grow as an artist. They can't continue to become better versions of themselves. Like you can be like the best rapper in the world, but if you don't know yourself, you'll just be rapping about shit that makes no sense like all day, right? Like you don't feed it with the instances of who you are, the stuff that you've gone through, what you believe in, all that kind of stuff. If you're just, pandering to the dynamic, then it's not going to have any substance. So I went on a tangent there, but yeah, I agree with you in what you just said. I think that definitely tracks as far as trying to be the best person that you can be, and then finding your own community, even if you can't find people who are encouraging you as an artist, like that, I think is one of the hardest things to do. But what I love about TikTok and, Instagram and all that kind of stuff, it's like what you said earlier. It's like I hit the real internet when I hit Instagram. Like it's great because you're able to find people that can support your work and actually be willing to, challenge you on things and also support you in the right ways. So all that being said, I that's one of the things that I believe in as a, like, one of the mantras in life is like you have to find people who are willing to support you, even if you sound like you're crazy, or if you sound like, your dreams are too big or whatever. It's like if you don't know if you don't try. Like how would you know? Like you said, Donald Trump became president. He tried and he did it. So he was able to do it. I still can't get my mind wrapped around this, but he did. Um, okay, so we're coming toward the end of our chat. And so you had said in our form, the form I sent out, you said, what is something that you'd want to talk about or do, or more that you want to tell me? And there were two things you said. One, you really like very intriguing questions that are uncomfortable and whatnot. And the other thing is like you really like surprises. So I have both for you. Um,
Okay.
so I have 3 games that we're going to play, and then I have a surprise at the end, which is going to be very embarrassing for me, but I'm doing this for you because you said you wanted something surprising, so I'm going to do it. So it's going to be terrible for me, but it's going to be great for you. So the first game is the this or that game. It's basically asking, like, would you prefer this or that? So there's 10 questions. Just don't think about it. Just answer the question, okay? Cake or pie?
Cake.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Jogging or hiking?
Hiking.
Really? You seem like a jogger.
I'm a sprinter.
Of course you are, because that's the elite version of jogging. Of course you are.
Yes.
Okay. TV or book?
Book.
Book. Okay, this is a controversial one. Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas.
Ninjas. Why?
If I had to model my life after anyone, it would definitely be a ninja. Like if I take ninjas aesthetics, like if I had to have a house that looked like either a ninja or a pirate, I'd want the ninja house, I'd want the ninja car, I'd want the ninja's diet plan, I'd want the ninja's training schedule. Like I'm scared if I'm a pirate, like there's gonna be too much like stimuli around me and too much like golden stuff, and like the diet's gonna consist of like rum, and pirates got scurvy, so there's no fruits or vegetables, and like just like the fitness influencer in me is just not having it. I'm like, no. Oh my word! I was actually a fitness influencer for like 3 days at some point because I dropped this video that went viral on how to like burn fat, and I was like, what? So, and I was giving people fitness advice, and I was like,
Oh my
I really,
God.
really, really want to actually like do this stuff so that it works, so that you don't call me a fraud because it worked for me, guys. So, anyways, that was fun.
You need to drop another video, I think. That's what you need to do.
Wow.
Okay. Sorry. We got sidetracked. Okay. City or countryside?
What you said.
Really? I thought you would say city.
Fun fact, when I say like when I make my jokes about being from the country club and whatnot, yeah, the way it works in like South Africa is like in the white neighborhoods that like I grew up in, yeah,
Mm.
they're like to the side in like the country and stuff. So there's like in these security estates,
Mhm.
where you've basically got like a whole Calabasas type hidden hill situation with
Mhm.
like these big houses and whatnot. And there's these like fingerprint scanners. Like, oh my word, when my parents lived, they had these like touchless fingerprint scanner things before Corona, dude. Like, I
Wow.
saw this thing and I was like, oh my goodness gracious. Oh, you know. Like I tell you, you know how the world perceives Africa.
Hmm.
Like that's how I perceive Africa.
What?
I know I live in South Africa, but like I just live in a version of South Africa that's so like Wakanda, if you will,
Yes.
that like I'm surprised when someone like, I'm so sorry if you're from Tanzania or Zambia or wherever. I'm so surprised when one of y'all are like, no, like we have iPhones and roads, and then like they'll show me a photo and like it's beautiful with the roads and stuff, and I'll be like, would you look at that? Feel the same way about Eastern Europe. Like you can't convince me that not everyone in Eastern Europe is wearing an Adidas tracksuit right now. Look at me getting canceled again. Like I know you guys got it in Eastern Europe. I know. It's like shout out to you guys. Like, it's just that man, it's so interesting that from somewhere and you think that your country is the only place that has cool stuff. But basically, yeah. I definitely like grew up way more in the countryside. Like I'm actually gonna be moving to a place like in Cape Town soon, and it's
Oh,
literally like in the mountains. It's like
wow.
once again, it's like a security estate type of situation, like
Mhm.
marketed as the most secure state in Africa. And I'm like, the whole of Africa,
Wow.
guys, hectic. That's crazy. You know, so that's definitely my vibe. It's like I'm 40 minutes away from the actual city,
Mhm.
and it's super cool because my energy is all over the place and whatnot. But then like I can get super like meditative, and it's nice to be able to take the long walks and look at the mountains and vibe and do all of that stuff.
Wow. That's yeah, especially as a creative, it's good to just get the silence so that you can think and sort through things. Man, I really thought you were going to say city. I really did. You seem like
What
such
do
a
you think I
city
was gonna?
person. Yeah.
I love the city. I love the city. I just don't like to live in the. I don't like to go to sleep in the city. I like to be awake in the city. If I'm going to sleep, I like to be in the countryside.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, next question, toilet paper. Over or under?
Over.
Why? Have you ever thought about why?
With under, yeah. Yeah. Okay. With under, you can accidentally bump it and then it's gonna like continue. It's gonna like continue going like but then with over, if you bump it, it has a chance to like flip and like recover itself. You get what I'm saying? It can like, whoosh, and like save itself. So I'm always like, over and then I'm going to tell the most embarrassing story. Yo,
Please.
okay, okay. I like ran out of toilet paper at some point.
Mhm.
And like every time I took a dump, I needed to literally just take a very, very, very intrusive shower. I, you before you started laughing, Your eyes literally just darted to the right, like, oh my word, I don't believe you just said that. I don't believe I did that. I, I should I shouldn't be saying this on your platform, but like the most embarrassing thing about this is that this didn't even happen too long ago. I don't know. But here's the thing. The only reason why I allowed that to happen was because of bidets. You know how bidets like
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Same thing. It's the same.
I was like, we as a society are not ready to have the conversation about the fact that when I ran out of toilet paper for that period of time, my booty was as clean as it's ever been. I mean, like every single time, like with soap. It's cleaner.
Well, I guess my question is do you have toilet paper now?
Tons. Never again.
It's just so much work. I would when I we used to have a bidet too, and it's so much work after the use of the bidet that I was just like, I don't know if I want to. But you do. It's true. You feel cleaner. You feel like I could do this all the time, but it's just like so much work. It's just so much work. The after effects of using the bidet that I was just like, forget it. That's why I hated it.
Thank you so much for letting me know about what it's like to use a bidet because I had no idea. I was really just hoping that someone who used the bidet was gonna be like, it's okay. Toilet paper's an option thing. There's other ways to do it. It's just about getting it clean. How you get it clean, it's
Well, this is the thing. Is like my sister has a bidet. She's like a bidet person. Like she doesn't use toilet paper. And the reason why I used it is because I went to her house once and I was like in on the toilet and I was like, "Where's the toilet paper?" She's like, "I don't have toilet paper." I was like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And she was like, "The bidet. It's a bidet. You're sitting on a bidet." And I was like, "Okay." And so she had to walk. I'm sitting on the toilet, like I had already done what I need to do, and she's standing over me telling me how to use this bidet. And she's like, "This button does this. It heats the water up. It blows air. It does all this kind of stuff." And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to use it. It was the most traumatic thing. Like I had to get through it like 4 or 5 times before I was like, okay, I understand why people like it. But like, it's just the after effects of like making sure you're dry. It's a whole thing. It's just a whole thing. And I, all that being said, I like toilet paper. Forget bidets. It's too much work.
you picked a side.
Yes, I have.
You know your
Yes. Okay, so there's a couple more questions for this and that. So, number 8, hamburger or taco? You just talked about Big Mac, so I assume you're going to say hamburger. But then you also talked about tacos on the previous podcast with Che Monster. So now I'm just like, which one will he say?
he's gonna say hamburger, but it would have been burritos if it was hamburger versus burrito.
So, so yeah, do you like tacos at all?
There's actually a Mexican restaurant 10 minutes down the road from me. And it's one of the few like actual good Mexican places around because of course Mexican culture isn't as prevalent in South Africa. And me being like a trans American, oh my word, I shouldn't say it like that. That is not how I should say that. I should not edit that out. People need to see me get canceled in real time. No. Anyways, I'll stick to de facto American.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm like, yo, cancel me before they cast me as Black Panther. Because if I get canceled while I'm cast as Black, then I lose the role. But see, like James Gunn got canceled while he was working for Disney, and then like he had to like get taken out, and now the Suicide Squad is gonna be like the greatest movie ever because he gets to be him and whatnot. So that's gonna be
Yeah.
cool. But it would have been a lot less traumatic if he could have just gone there the first time. Anyways, yeah, but like me being like, I wouldn't even say influenced by American culture at this stage, just raised on it, right?
Mm.
Because like the entertainment, relevant entertainment anyway that I digested is super American, yeah. So it's like Of course, I was watching Kim Possible and I'm watching Unstoppable eat the Nako.
You
The
watched
combination between.
Impossible?
Yes.
Oh my God, we're like best friends. Oh my God, I love that show.
It's, have you watched Carmen San Diego?
Yeah, I grew up on. I forget you're 23. You're 23. Yes, I grew up on Carmen San Diego. I used to come off out of school and watch it after I got out of school. I love Carmen San
I don't
Diego.
compliment or not, but I thought that you were like younger than me, to be honest with you.
I am 13 years older than you. Not even joking.
So you're basically never gonna look old, is what you're telling me.
That's the dream.
So
Honestly,
like,
if I can look like Lo is at 50, I will be happy with my life.
you're probably gonna look better. Like you could fully cosplay a teenager.
God. That's very kind, but so untrue. There's so many people who like I remember about it was about a year ago, and I was in a grocery store, and this kid came up to me. He might have been like 11 or 12 years old, and he was like, you look a lot like my mom. And I was like, well, is your mom a unicorn? Because that's what you're looking at. No, I didn't say that. I told him, I said, um, well, where is your mom? And his mom, 2 aisles over, she comes around. She's like, she's over there. And she's like, Mom, come here. Don't you look like this lady? Da, da, da. First of all, mind you, I had a mask on, number one. Um, okay, so it wasn't like you can see my face. Anywho, this woman might have been like 40 or 50 years old, but she looked like she was like 65. And I was just like, maybe it's just because he's a kid. But then I was like, maybe also it's because I could perceive myself as a 65-year-old woman. Either way, he was incorrect. but but
No,
yeah,
no.
I mean, I love Carmen San Diego. It was one of the. I heard that they were thinking about rebooting it, which I don't. I'm not into. But Kim Possible. I can't believe you watched the Powerpuff Girls. Like what?
My oldest brother is 12 years older than me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm 23, so he's turning 35 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched all of that stuff with him. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking like what, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Samurai Jack, Mega Salah, like all the good stuff.
How?
Yeah. You know what's the crazy thing about the Common San Diego thing?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the Netflix reboot.
Oh my God! So you are. You're a child. You're a little kid.
Generational gap. I apologize.
Oh my
I'm
God.
so
Like you
sorry. I failed you.
should.
You should check it out. It's very impossible-ish.
Is it?
Yeah, I would. I think I describe it as Kim Possible. Oh, there was a fly. I'm sorry. I describe it as Kim Possible, but like with an explanation as to how she got her skills.
Ah. Have you okay, have you seen the OG Carmen San Diego? Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Well, that's going to be your homework cuz you've got to just look it up on YouTube. It's a totally different conversation like it's just the music, and I don't know if in the new one it has the music, but definitely check it out. Um God, you're so young. Okay, so I'll go to the next question. Okay. Phone call or text? I know you just said you
Phone
you send tons of texts all the time.
call for sure.
Really?
Like when I tell you, I called my crush who's acting up on. I called her like when was it, like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I think she's been on delivered ever since. Just because. Okay, fine. We're gonna get into the tea. I'm gonna give you the tea. It is what it is.
Yes, I have to know. That's so rude. Go ahead.
She's a bad texter. She's literally a bad texter. Yeah. And like she's super busy, also has a lot of personal stuff going on. So it's a chat where it's like communication wise, we get to each other when we can. You get me? So it's
Oh
it's a
my
I'm literally like I have the ability to give you the 1 minute reply and like the and be like and on the ball and everything. But like you're setting the table here.
God.
You're setting the table. This is why I'm not saying I'm in a talking stage or a situationship or whatever. Because I'm not. I'm like, this is a one-sided clash. So you just gonna set the table here for the treatment that's gonna happen. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
God.
Right? So it's a situation where like, well, I mean, if we text each other within 3 to 5 business days, then that's just our vibe. You know what I'm saying? And then if at some point we decide to be baby adults about the situation, then my
So,
texting game will be overnight.
does your crush know that you are crushing on her?
Yes,
And
yes.
still be treating you like that? Damn, man, that's some cold
She
stuff.
apologized for it though. She, that's the only reason this is still a conversation. she, she literally apologized for it. Well, we don't do the phone like this anymore. We're supposed to
Nope,
do it
like
like this or
this.
like this. Yeah, it's crazy. And like, nah, nah, nah. She apologized for it. She was like, I'm sorry for being an asshole. And then I was like, nah, like you're not actually an asshole. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, at this point, people are literally gonna, but we can't date the Vanta Lord. He's gonna put up business on the internet. It's done.
So, okay,
Right?
I'll ask you a couple more questions then. Are you, and this is a whole conversation we'll have in the next round, but I just want to ask you now, are you the type of person where, like, you like being the chaser, where you're like, I, she's being mean to you, but you're just like, I'm going to continue trying to get a yes?
I got my yes. I mean, she likes me back, but it's
That's
never
good.
that simple, is it?
No, it's not. There's always
Yeah, yeah,
an
yeah. That's
addendum.
so. It's a situation where I. Did you see me roll my eyes just now? I was just like, oh, bro, why can't we just be baby adults about the situation? Goodness gracious. Yeah, yeah. I don't even like being the chaser. You know how nice it is when you blow up on social media, then there are these DMs and these people like saying they want to marry you and stuff. You're like, I like this is how this should
Yes,
go.
how it should be. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. Here's the thing though, yeah? You can't take a whole human being and try to say you know everything about them within like a month or 2 months. You get me?
Yeah.
It's like it's a bit absurd for me to make a whole judgment on this human being, yeah, and like not at least like give her the just that leeway to kind of grow within my life. You get me? As who she is. You get me? Not as who I want her to be. You get me? So like
Mhm.
who I'd like her to be is, oh my word, we should elope and run into the forest. It would be so beautiful, you know? But I mean, it's a simple situation where like I know I had to definitely get to a stage where I was more ready for a relationship. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's a situation where like I can just pop into if I like someone now, I can pop into their lives and be like, okay, yeah, cool. I can get to know you, yeah. Once I've like seen enough, I can decide to like, kind of commit to you exclusively and we can see where things go from there.
Mhm.
If we end up breaking up, that's cool. We weren't meant for each other, that's fine.
Mhm.
But I think definitely, I'm not sure if it's like this, like, for your generation, yeah. But like for
Mhm.
my generation, I think like people are super scared of like the boyfriend girlfriend thing. Like
Yeah.
they're not trying to hear it. They're like, that is like marriage. It's like, no. In my head, I'm like, well, I don't know. If you guys like each other, you become boyfriend, girlfriend. If you change your minds, you break up. That's how it's a little bit more casual than y'all think. It is not that serious, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's why he's like, I just had a fun boyfriend. It's like, no, but then I had a serious boyfriend or a serious girlfriend. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
100%.
I'm not keen on the chasing thing, but I'm like, I look at this situation in particular and I'm like, I don't have the information here. I don't have enough
Mhm.
information. So I can't necessarily make a judgment. And I'm like, me doing me doesn't disturb her. Her doing her doesn't disturb me. So it's a thing of like, I think it's more like just up to me to kind of have a life, if you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I think the danger is when people make their lives dependent on whoever they are pursuing in the moment or whoever they're crushing on. And then that's when things get super emotional and tricky. But it's like a thing where I don't really mind like the whole taking long to reply thing because I mean, I've probably been undelivered for the past 3 days too. You get what I'm saying?
So, okay, so for you then, what is what at the end of the I mean, there's this saying that say that people have been married for say 30, 40 years. They say even at the tail end of a 30-year relationship, they're just learning or discovering who their significant other is. Do you feel that um, when you're going to make that leap from boyfriend, girlfriend to life partner, um, you have had, for you personally, have you have had those questions answered? Like, do you feel like you know that person by time? Because a lot of people are just like, I'm in love with him. I don't know his last name, but I'm in love with him and I'm getting there. Like, that type of conversation. Like, we'll learn to grow together. Or are you the type of person where, like, I need to know certain questions that are answered in order to make that final leap?
I'll tell you what, romance is not analytical, it's emotional. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of what dating is that we've tried to analyze it to death. We're now talking about attachment styles. We're now talking about love languages and everything. Yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
think as much good as those conversations have been trying to put in, I think they've kind of put in a little bit more bad, if you ask me. I think we need to
Mm.
be removing like of the terms from things, We need to like deconstruct romance a lot. And we need to break it down to a situation of do I like this person, yes or no? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think what happens a lot of the time in these situations where like you need to backpedal and just like out of respect for the other person, be like, nah, that's just my crush,
Mm-hmm.
Like where it's like trying to claim another person's interest despite what you heard. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a situation where you see what happens now is she becomes famous. It's like he was lying about the whole thing. Like, I didn't even say your name. I told you about one in the dance.
Canceled.
uh, the situation really plays out like I feel like when you deconstruct it, yeah, and then you just go with the whole thing of I really like this person, then I think if you're honest with yourself, you can look inside and you can gauge how much you like someone. And sometimes you like someone so much that you're gonna figure it out without knowing their last name. And sometimes you like someone to the point where you need to ask certain questions because you're still scared.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you take a bite into a meal that you've already had, you take a big ass bite. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I'm getting that burrito and I'm eating, biting into it, get the quesadillas, the tacos, and everything, munching on that, then it's grand, right? But then, like, if I go to like, I don't eat much Thai food, If it's like a new Thai meal that I'm trying, then I'll kind of look at it for a bit and then I'll be like, okay, take a little bite, and then, oh, this was kind of good. And then I'll eat it again and again and again and again and again. And then like it's finished. Then I go back to the Thai restaurants and then I get more and more and more. And I feel like a lot of dating advice is presented as this is how it should be. No,
Mm-hmm.
luxury that human beings have, yeah? Human beings have the luxury of being exactly who they are. Human beings don't only need to mate, like when they're in heat.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? It's like a thing of like they do it wherever, whenever. So it's a chat where human beings don't necessarily need to hunt, herbivores. Human beings could be a surfer, an accountant,
Mm-hmm.
a musician, whatever, right? And when it comes to the whole conversation of love and moving from boyfriend, girlfriend to a life partner, I think that this is going to sound crazy, but I think the situation should be a little bit more reckless in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, not in terms of not in terms of just getting into a relationship with anyone, but getting into a relationship with someone who feels good for you, because I think what really disturbs people a lot in terms of their story with romance and such is that they'll find someone that's like super good for them, then that will scare them because now suddenly like commitment scares them, and they
Yeah.
don't know if they can do it because of what happened the last time, and now they're putting too much information into it. You get it,
Mm-hmm.
like way too much information. And then it just really, really derails and ruin things. It's like thing of like, will he be able to support my children and da da da? Your children aren't even here, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's like people are using metrics that have nothing to do with love.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
are you trying to build a life with someone, or rather not build a life, yeah? But are you trying to spend your life with someone who you love, or are you trying to build a lifestyle with someone that can afford it? You see, because I feel like that's a
Ah.
lot of it's like I find it very weird, when I'm trying to like start a romantic relationship with someone, and one of the first questions is like, "So what do you do?" And then, I'll tell them it's like, "I've got the secret society. I'm a musician. Cool, cool, cool. Great, yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like often, well, almost all the time, the response is, "Oh my word, that is so interesting. Tell me more, you sexy beast," you know. But I, I, I just sometimes stop and I ask myself, I'm like, yo, dude, like, what if I said that, I don't know, I crack acorns, for a living. Like, what would the response have been if I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have these like alluring, sexy, occupations and such? If I didn't have this cool lifestyle that I live and whatnot, yeah. It's concerning to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely benefit a lot, especially just because of like also the height thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tall, 6 feet on the dot, thank goodness. But I'm like,
Thank goodness.
what if I wasn't that perfect 183 centimeters? you know, what then?
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, we need to ask fewer questions. I think we just need to enjoy people's company. I think we need to because I think we're playing a game of avoiding red flags instead of learning about people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're definitely gonna find ourselves in more fulfilling relationships if we do have the patience, like
Mm-hmm.
like you said, just like if my crush was being mean and da 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 da. And now I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, it's whatever. I've also been mean to people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do I like her as much as I did? Maybe not, but grounded within the idea of her as being a flawed human being, which is far more beneficial for a healthy relationship in the long run. You get
Yes.
me?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely my take on that.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that it's like one thing that gets me is like I have the one universal question when it comes to me for dating. For me personally, is that how does this person treat others that don't walk in the shoes that this person walks in? Like people who like say for example, if this person was talking with someone who like say for example what because this is the thing that my mother actually told me that made her fall in love with my dad is that my dad is a physician and my mother was with him once and you know in the doctor world they doctors talk with doctors, but they don't talk to anybody else. They don't have conversation with anybody else. And my mom said that when she had first met my dad, um, they're gonna kill me for she's gonna kill me for telling you this, but I'm just gonna say it. My dad stopped to talk to the janitor who was taking the trash out. And he was having a full conversation at the hospital. Like they talked for like an hour and it was this whole thing. And she was like, I love the fact that your father connects with everyone regardless of the title that they have behind them, regardless of how much money is in their bank or what class system they're in. Like he treats everybody the same. And so that for me is what is very important when you are looking like because it that stuff bleeds into the type of vehicles that you purchase or like how you're going to raise children or if you even want children or you don't want children or whatever that may be. And I think that to me is the end all. Like yeah, he may like have three toes, you know, walks with a limp or whatever it maybe is considered, negative. I think that it's definitely something that we have to look at the spirit of a person, like you're saying, like the flaws and knowing that person has flaws because we all have flaws. None of us are perfect. And then go from there. Because if you just have a laundry list of stuff, like you'll never be happy, no matter who you're dating.
Yeah, I mean, you know that our dads have the same job.
Really? What kind of doctor is your dad?
Cardiologist, physician.
My dad's an anesthesiologist. It's crazy, right?
You said that and I glitched for a second. I was like, what? And I was like, oh, that's why my Wakanda conversation landed so smoothly. Okay, she relates.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely grew up probably not as well as you did, but I definitely grew up not having to want for anything. And I definitely grew up in a place where I never, if I wanted something, I got it. I mean, I wasn't like, Dad, I want a pony. Like, it was much more like, Dad, I really like those shoes. Can we? And he's just like, yeah. And, it's that kind of stuff. Like, my parents did well in raising me and my sister. I have four sisters, so it's just five girls in the house. And they did great raising us, but it was definitely much more about making sure that we were good humans than anything else. And I grew up in a Christian home as well. I went to a lot of Christian schools, and it's what I've come to terms with, which is during our conversation, listening to what you have to say, is like I don't know what you consider yourself now, but you definitely have all of the qualities of what is considered. I hate saying the word Christian because it's a very taboo kind of word now because there's so many people that I do not want to be associated with that call themselves Christians. They're very terrible, but definitely have what the ideal Christian should have as far as understanding humans are flawed, understanding that you have to have empathy and continue to love regardless of like if someone's spitting on you, continuing to love that person, whether it's I'm not saying break your back for them, but like definitely reach out and try to have empathy for that person. So um I'm going on another tangent. But yeah, I think that it's interesting that because when you were talking, you're like, I grew up very privileged. I was like, yeah, okay, I grew up privileged too, but I was like, probably. And then you're talking, I'm just like, damn it, he's like the same person as me. Like, how does he know? It's like you knew. So, but yeah, it's very interesting going back to what we're talking about. It's like I think that you're right. We have to not have that type of um list and I think it's part of it's because of the world that we're in, like culturally. It's like you have to fill out these like 5 checkpoints of like who you are as a person if you're gonna date me. You don't like rabbits. You can't have Gucci shoes. You can't drive this car. I only sit in stick shift car. Like it's just this whole thing of like I have to have the perfect person in order to marry them or in order to date them, and it's like weird because good luck finding that perfect person. So, anyways,
Yeah.
that went back to the
Some.
question: phone call or text. Sorry.
Oh yeah, phone call.
Phone call. I should have just kept going. Okay, last question, which is not as fun, but this or that question, which I think I already know the answer: Android or Apple?
Apple.
Apple, of course. What kind of dumb question is that? I know. Like what?
Like honestly speaking, if there's one thing in my life that I really just have pride in, like everyone has their favorite sports team and whatnot.
Yeah.
My favorite sports team is Apple.
the whole the whole thing.
You support the Patriots, I support Apple. You support the Lakers, I support Apple. Your favorite rapper is Kanye West. My favorite rapper is Apple.
So, okay, then walk us through your life. Do you have pretty much almost anything that's made with Apple? So, the TV, I don't even I haven't had a new Apple in a long time, but I assume you have a Mac, you have an iPhone, yes. You have
Yep.
do you have the Apple Home, where you talk to it? I don't know what it's called, but it's like
That's the
Alexa but
one
Apple.
thing. I think that's like the one thing that I don't have.
Well, it's on your list. You got to get it.
I saw they released like a small version of it too, and I was like,
Yeah.
yo, if I get like 8 of these and put them around the house, then surround sound.
Yes.
I'm, I'm so excited by the idea because I feel like you can get as many as like possible. Then you can just have music everywhere.
Everywhere you go, in the shower, in
Can
bed.
you the apartments and then just like
Oh my god. Okay, so the next part is I made a section just for you. So the this or that game, that was the original questionnaire thing I had for when we had the podcast last year. I've updated it to something else, which we'll talk about in a second. However, I made a special round for you, which is called the Vanta Lord round, which is basically
okay.
like questions for you to answer. It doesn't have to be long questions. I mean, long answers. It can be as short as you want them to, but it's 3 questions. So one, which is interesting. Tell me about your most awkward date.
I'm on awkward date.
Yes.
have,
Yes.
have you noticed how, how like whenever you ask someone a question that's actually awkward, they
Yeah.
have to re-ask the
Yes. Because they're like, how am I going to spin this? I know exactly.
it's like it's like it's like when a person who I may or may not call my crush was like, so when was the last relationship you had? I answered the question. When was the last time you had sex? I answered the question. And then I literally after I answered the question, I was like, when was the last time you had sex? And then she was like, when was the last time I had sex? I'm like, yeah. She just give me a date, and I'm just looking at her like, okay, we'll run with that. It's fine. It's fine. In life, they had sex yesterday. It's none of your business. It's fine. Sorry, what was the question? What was my most awkward date?
Yes.
Okay.
You're really thinking about this. You really, because you're just like, should I be honest? Or should I come up with a
It's
really good lie?
probably that one. It was probably that one that I just mentioned. Nobody's. I really wanted to lie, but I don't lie. Like I'm thinking about it and I'm like, but that date wasn't even awkward. Hey, it wasn't even awkward. It wasn't even awkward. It wasn't even awkward. She was just a little bit shy because it was our first time meeting, you
Mhm.
know. So like, yeah, with the other ones, I had already known the person for a super long time before. So it's like that was just more like another chill. But I mean, like that situation was like an actual first date. Yeah,
Mm.
man. But it
Wow.
was super cool. We ended up playing Uno. It was amazing. I loved it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And then she was like, I don't believe, because we're at this fancy restaurant by the beach and stuff. It's like, I can't believe we're playing cards right now. And then I was there teaching her how to play Uno. And I was like, yeah, believe it. I ended up winning because I'm a legend. But yeah,
Of
we had a lot
course
of
you are.
fun and it was,
You always have to win. That's just how it works.
yeah, no, just because I'm teaching my dates how to play, it doesn't mean I can't beat her. No ways.
Okay, so all right. That's a really good answer. Um, what is a fact that you wish you had never learned?
Where vanilla comes from. Flavoring, vanilla flavoring.
I saw that TikTok. It was hilarious. I saw that. Because then I didn't know either. And I was like, what is he looking at? And I went and looked up. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't want anything vanilla flavored ever again. Never again.
When apparently that's why it has to say vanilla extract.
Yes.
And
Oh.
like apparently, like, man, what was it like beaver ass or something?
Yes.
The,
From their anus. Yeah. Oh God.
oh my goodness, here's a good yo
Uh-huh.
yo two.
Two?
Apparently, the Benson movies
Uh-huh.
rubbish.
No.
Yes, like when they're crawling through the vents, garbage. Apparently, there's hella screws and it's like dark and like dirty and it's grimy and stuff.
What?
You see, like the outside air conditioning unit,
Mm-hmm.
like the outside parts where it's like blowing out the hot air.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed how dirty that little box is?
It's disgusting. Yeah.
Like imagine the inside. That's what
Wow.
vents are. And another this one, I'm taking the whole world down with me. I'm not learning this alone. Yo, apparently, yeah, if they've got an Apple device, if they've
Uh-huh.
got an Apple device in a movie, that's the
Uh-huh.
good bad. I don't know if this is true,
That's
but
not true. No way.
apparently someone signed a deal, or Apple have a thing where a bad guy is not allowed to have an Apple device.
Wait, let me think. Oh my
They
God. That is true. Because now I'm thinking, I'm just like, yeah. Because if you like, even in TV shows, they'll have an apple, but then the bad guy will have this like nondescript phone that you have no idea what it is, but it's never an apple. That's brainwashing.
exactly.
That is brainwashing. Oh my God. Wow.
They they don't want to see they don't want us to see Lex Luthor with an iPhone. They're not having it. No.
It's amazing. Oh wow. Now you've ruined it for me. Now I'm just like, so does that mean that since I have an apple that I'm a good person? Or is that Apple telling me I'm a good person because I have an apple?
The latter.
So, what you think? You've now listened to approximately 3 hours total of us chit-chatting um, about everything and anything in between. And I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say. This is the longest podcast I've done on one single guest. I couldn't stop talking to him. So I am asking, one, if you could go on to social media. We're on Facebook / Human Coffee Podcast. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Rebecca Lee Perry. And we're obviously on TikTok at Human Coffee Podcast. I'd love you to jump on there. Tell me how you felt about the whole thing. And honestly, like, I want to continue doing this. I'm so in love with having the ability to connect with these wonderful, amazing humans and learning about life through their walks. And so I am asking, if you feel so inclined, buy me a coffee so I can continue to make these podcasts, one. And two, I'd love to see this podcast into, higher territory of having a studio, being able to fly people in, get editors instead of me editing everything together. And, I think this can be done. There's something special about this podcast that I can't put my finger on. And I think that, it would be something worth pursuing. So I'd love for you to connect with me through my social media, through, buy me a coffee. And if not, if you can't afford to give $1, $3, whatever, share this podcast with someone, who you feel like would really benefit from it. But thank you again, and enjoy the rest of this as we wrap up. I'm brainwashed like
Yeah,
yeah.
because people with Apple still cheat. So
Yes. Oh my
yeah.
God. Okay, so the last question. It's kind of a heavy question. Kind of,
Okay.
not really. Okay, so if you could be born again and choose what nationality, gender, and race to be, you could choose it. What would it be?
Nationality, gender, and race.
Mm-hmm. And you could choose. You get to stand in front of God and be like, I would like to be this, this, and this.
Make me. Oh, I was gonna say make me a mixed Italian girl with green eyes.
What?
No,
Really?
wait, no, wait. I think I might be a Latino woman from Colombia.
Why?
Or one of those like island girls, like not necessarily like like Hawaiian kind of. Wait, am I still alive in this scenario?
Yeah, but you get to choose.
No. But what I'm saying is, me as I am now, I'm somewhere in the world, but then I'm also reborn and like.
No. This is like you're
Okay,
about to
okay, okay,
go and
okay,
you're gonna
okay.
come back. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, okay. Here's the thing. Here's why. Here's why I'm going in this direction. Yeah? I have always wanted to know what it was like to have that like female pretty privilege. Male pretty privilege is one thing. Because male pretty privilege, like you forget. It's not in your life. You don't really notice it that much until it comes up where you realize, oh my word, that's why I got such a big sample of ice cream, huh? Huh. You know? But man, that female pretty privilege. Sometimes like it looks annoying for the most part, right? You're not crazy. Let's start there. But man, I'm really stuck between being the Latino woman from Colombia
Mhm.
and being the mixed woman from Italy.
What's keeping you from going either way?
I I I have no idea why, but I feel like if I'm born in Italy as a mixed person, I'm going to be able to benefit from one of my parents' white privilege, yeah, which is gonna somehow lead to learning English, which is gonna somehow lead to me getting a green card.
Oh my God.
Now, as a Latina woman, a Latina from Colombia, the path, to getting to that first world situation isn't as clear to me. And I mean, if you look at the news, it's not that clear.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
so yeah. Man, but I would really love to be a Latina woman. I just feel like in a lot of ways I am a Latina woman. You see, this is the beginning of me becoming a trans American.
Oh my god. So the end of the conversation is you're either going to be a Latino woman or a mixed woman from Italy with green eyes.
Latina woman.
Latino woman. Okay. So when you look at your TikTok, the people that support you, are you able to see like where everyone's from?
I have 75% of my followers are from America.
How many
And
people are from Latin America?
probably less than 1%, and it's upsetting. I once blew up in Brazil, and I thought it was my moment. It wasn't my moment.
Oh my god, this interview has gone off the rails, but I love it.
What were Shay Mons talking about when he said the Vanta effect, the Agostinho the Silva effect?
That's definitely what this is. Because like I was just like, oh, he'll just answer because when I prepped for this, I was like, he'll just answer the questions really quickly and we'll go on. Dude, my face hurts from smiling so much. Like my cheeks hurt. It's crazy. Okay, so this is the last game that we're gonna do. I'll move through it. And then after that, we have your surprise, which is going to be the death of me socially, but I did this for you because I love you and your content that much. So the last game is we create a story with a 10-word sentence. So I'm going to count off on my hands, and then what we'll do is like I'll say a word and you say a word, and then we'll finish the sentence. So do you want to start or do you want me to start with the first word?
Please repeat the game. I want to have a full grasp of this. My apologies.
That's fine. So, we're gonna do a 10-word sentence, and I'm gonna
Yes.
count it off on my hand. We'll go from word to word. So, for example, if it was like a 3-word sentence, it would be like I would say a, you would say cat, and I would say ran, and that would be the whole sentence. So we're gonna do 10
Mm-hmm.
words. I'll count them off, and I'll try to see if I can remember the words. I'm so bad at this. This is the third time I'm doing this, so if I screw it up,
Okay.
sorry. So, do you want to start with the first word, or do you want me to start?
I'm going to start with the first word.
You're the first person I've done this where you wanted to start. The guest is always like, "You go first." And I'm like, "Okay." All right, so you start with the first word.
Amalgamation.
Okay. Amalgamation. Okay, amalgamation is
Coming
tomorrow.
because
We
require
no. Amalgamation is coming tomorrow because we require um nothing.
from
Oh shit. I had the last word. Amalgamation is coming tomorrow because we require nothing from Uh, nothing from society. That's a stupid ending. I don't like that word, but I guess it worked.
Amalgamation is all because we require nothing from society. The people joining together.
Because we require nothing.
By the way, I'm so happy that you went to Colombia because NYU didn't accept me. So I'm failing
Same.
now, guys. So take. I,
It's their loss, man. It's their loss. That's what I tell myself. It's their loss.
Columbia is a great school, though. So
Thank you. Yeah, I loved it. I grew up in the country, on the southeastern side of it, so mostly on the East Coast. And I was born in Texas, but we lived mostly on the East Coast. And so I'd never been to New York City. And when I went there, I lived in, like, I currently still do, but I lived in like KKK country, like my most of my life. Like it was like that type of life. And, everything that comes with it. And so when I moved up there to New York, for school, and somebody was driving down the road and said something terrible to me, like cat called me and like called me all these words because I didn't, talk to him or whatever. And I called my dad right after. I was like, Dad, I was like, the best thing just happened to me. He was like, what are you talking about? This guy just cat called me and called me such and such and such. I was like, but it wasn't because he didn't like me because of what I look like. It's just because he didn't like me. He was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, Dad, it's the best feeling. Are you kidding me? Like it's amazing. So Columbia was great. I learned a lot, and I learned the biggest thing I learned about Columbia and New York City is that it's okay to be comfortable in your own skin of what you look like, whether you are a person of color, whether you are a white person, whether you are, homosexual, whatever. But for me, um, we have to get past the I'm comfortable with who I am, but we have to learn to celebrate, you know, those things. Celebrate who we are as people and celebrate, like, someone who is Latin American should be able to celebrate somebody who's from Italy. And I think that's what I love from Columbia. Now, I owe them a lot of money for grad school, like a lot. But I would do it all again because of the experience. So yeah, Columbia is a great school. It's just like it's too fucking expensive. It's so expensive. Um, okay, so now has come to the worst part of my existence. You had said that you like surprises, and I stayed up till
yeah.
3 o'clock this morning doing this because I was like, I don't know how I would surprise him. He seems like he's been surprised his whole life. So what can I do that would be a surprise for this man, this demigod slash archangel? So what I did, and I do not do this. I have no training in this, but I know that you are a rapper and that you're a poet. So I wrote you a poem,
Cool.
which is so bad. It's so bad. But I was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna embarrass myself and probably somehow get canceled somewhere by someone. Um, and we'll see how this goes. I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, so I know nothing about stanzas. I know nothing about rhyming, as you will see in just a minute. I'm just prefacing this. I'm just telling you that you seemed like a very non-judgmental person, so this is why I'm doing it. Now, everyone who's seeing this video or watching this on YouTube or wherever or listening to it, they're going to be like, what is this discrepancy in my ears? But I'm just doing this for no one but the Vanta Lord. So that's as far as it's going to go. Okay. Okay.
Makes you feel any better. I mean, I just spat the worst freestyle of all time. The hip hop community is gonna kill me for that, but it's cool. We ride.
Okay. So, all right. So let's see if I can do this. Spitting with the Vanta Lord in my laptop. Gonna try to rhyme something that can't stop. Beat my brain
Mm.
trying to explain failure's tears or bloody success is forever in the beholder's mess. The truth gives you room, the self permission. Go on the mission, be the best version that you is true. So in this realm where the Vanta presides, holder of the keys to the cookout line, full of green steaks and sweet potato pie.
Godly. I bow to you, goddess.
So bad. It was garbage. It was very painful. I don't know how you do
That's
this.
actually uh, that is actually pretty fire. By the standards of someone that like really doesn't write, I'm like, wow. Wait, but you do write. You said you're a screenwriter, so I mean,
I do, but I can't write to like rhyming and like, stanzas and all that that is not my forte. I don't know how people one can do this and make money off of it and other people will actually enjoy it. Like I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't.
here's what's gonna happen, yeah. We're gonna write these Vanta Lord movies. They're gonna make $8 billion each, and then we'll pay Columbia. It's okay.
Okay,
There'll be
that'll
tons
work.
of rhyming work involved in the process.
So, okay, now that we've gone through that, I'm like my face is so hot because I'm so embarrassed. What that's the one great thing about being a person of color, which I'll say in just a second, is like people don't know when you're embarrassed most of the time because you have dark skin. Like white when I was in school all the time, I would be embarrassed all the time, but nobody knew because I have dark skin. Um, do you have any questions for me? Or is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk a little bit about more?
Definitely.
Oh no, I'm scared now. What's your question?
Okay. I actually really, really, really want to know what it's like being a mixed black person in America. Tell me about that.
Um,
Because you get a bit of insights, you know. It's
there are good things and bad things to it, I think, as with anything in life. So I grew up in a household where you have to celebrate everything on both sides, right? However, on the side that was my black side versus the one that's on the Korean side, both sides didn't like certain aspects of me because I was the other person. And so I grew up not really fitting inside of a box. So, for better part of the word of not saying that you don't because everybody. I think that it's they say it's an unconscious thing. Like everybody does it. As soon as you put eyes on someone that you've never met, you automatically put them in some type of box, right? Like you don't do it on purpose. It's just like unconsciously you just do it. And I always felt like I was the person who nobody could actually put in a box because they didn't like okay. The number one question I get when men ask me for my number or they're trying to like get my attention, the number one question that they ask me before they ask like your phone number or where you're from or whatever is what are you mixed with? I hate that question because it tells me about the type of person you are. You're trying to figure out what I am. You're trying to figure out where to put me in the box of where you view people. And you're trying to figure out where I am in that system of what you prefer and what you don't prefer. Right. So what I what I hate about that is kind of goes in the mantra of what I believe in as a person is like we can't sit around and put people in boxes because at the end of the day, you're not able to flourish as a person, right? Like I can't dance, I can't sing. Obviously, I can't rap. I don't do things that a normal black person should be doing. And so a lot of times I felt as if I wasn't a quote unquote black person because I was told I wasn't dark enough, I didn't speak a certain way, all these different things. However, on the flip side, what I do love about being a mixed person in this country is I like the fact that I am not in a box because I like being able to. I've gotten out of so many things by not being a black person that it has helped me get through life. I know it's such a terrible thing to say, but you know how the manifestation of what people who are not African American think of what African Americans are in this country, because I didn't fit that stereotype. Um, I was able to get away with and I say get away, being a normal human, but it's really getting away with it in this country, um, where I didn't have to worry about certain things because of that. So, for example, because I wasn't dark enough, I didn't have to worry about one of the big things in this country is big is, and it's probably across the world, is that if you are a black person, usually they don't want you in pools with white people, right? Like you just don't, like even to this day, there are videos going around about white people calling the police on people who are in pools with them in the pool. And so because a lot of times I remember I wasn't, they weren't sure if I was Latino. People thought I was Samoan, Latino, from Hawaii, all these different things. Like they're like, "Oh, she's okay. She's not really one of them," quote unquote. So, but the great thing about being a mixed person, in my opinion, is that you're able to see how cultures are actually almost the same in like the type of things you love, the type of uh, things you celebrate. It's very beautiful in the sense of like Korean and black people are very similar. Very similar. Like the food is bomb on both sides. Like just, I mean, like if I had like that question I asked you about, like if you could choose, what race you could be and all that kind of stuff, I would still want to be what I am. Because I just love being me. Now, would I want to be a white man for like 5 seconds to see what kind of privilege that is? Yeah, probably. But, at the end of the day, I don't think I could do that for the rest of my life because it would just drive me crazy. But, what I did find was that, when you are looking at the essence of what a human being is, like we all care for our family. If you're doing the right thing as a human, you're all caring for your families. We're all trying to build our careers. We're all trying to find, solace in other things that make you happy, regardless if you are from Korea or whether you're from, Chicago, if you're from South Africa. Like we're all trying to find our place in the world through our passions, through what we love, through our jobs, through, our significant others, our children, the legacy, the fingerprint that you leave on this earth. And so like we get all caught up in like how we're supposed to put people in boxes and how we're supposed to live our lives in relation to how people view us as opposed to just being who you are. And that is what I love about being a mixed person because I was able to experience that on both sides. Like I had my grandfather on my mother's side, who's Korean. He didn't speak a lick of English, none. He didn't speak any English, and I'm the oldest, so I was the one who was able to like interact with him a lot. And of course, I speak no Korean, by the way, so I know the curse words, but that's about it. But um, but I have many, many moments in my life when I was young. I think up until he died when I was like 16. So up until that point, there are many moments where through hugs and love and slipping me candy under the table and having connections with me without having vocal connections was like the things that I remember. And I think that it made me learn that you can have love for a person that you have no idea what type of world they live in and still have empathy for that person, still have the ability to connect with that person without having them in a box of who they are, of what you think they should be, I guess. um, and so I think that more people, as in our sentence, like we should have more amalgamation of people. I'm not saying that like, and people are going to get on me for this, but I think that it's crazy when people say, I have a preference, I only date black girls, or I have a preference, I only date this, or I have a preference, I don't want to have, or one thing that really, really pisses me off is when people say, um, man, you're mixed, whatever you end up marrying or having children with is going to have beautiful babies. And I'm just like, that's so terrible in the sense of like, that's a human being. It's not a dog that's been bred. It's a spirit that is coming here. So I think that being a mixed person, whether it's in America or not, but definitely in this country, has its positives and negatives. Like so many mixed people have such invalidity, but also you can find such, like, look at The Rock or look at I'm trying to think of another mixed person. A Marie, you know who A Marie is, I'm sure. She's Korean and African American. It's like you see the amalgamation of the worlds that they were connected, and then you see how they found like a common thread through that whole thing. So that's a long answer to your question, but I think it's awesome, but I also think that it needs to be seen more that like we're coming to a world where if in reality almost everyone in America is mixed. Like you can't tell them that, but if you are, you know, from this country, you've got some mixed blood somewhere. It's just that, you know, a lot of people just don't want to talk about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's beautiful. I actually didn't expect to get such a well-rounded, like multifaceted answer. You know, I definitely, just like in a weird way, I almost see more of you now. You know, did you ever watch The Lost Airbender?
Yes.
Do you remember when they go into like the spirit realm with all the avatars and such, and then you see like Avatar Roku and everyone like behind Aang and stuff? I
Yeah.
feel like that's how I'm looking at you now. Like,
I think, you know, I am, and I'm not saying that I'm an amazing person because I think all of us have amazing things about us and all of us have terrible things. But what I grew up very similar to you, is like I observed. I was alone a lot, but I observed. I was always an observer. I watched how people treated themselves, how they treated others, how grown-ups were basically larger versions of children. Like, you know, when you're young, you think like, when I become an adult, I'm gonna have everything figured out. But like there are 6-year-olds running around that like know more than, you know, 95-year-olds. It's just like the fact of the matter is like we all are on our journey of where we're trying to be as people. But I think that a lot of times people think that by 25 I'm going to have this figured out, and by 40 I'm going to be, you know, this and this and that. But I think it just comes down to being observing and open to the world around you, to people you meet, to, I mean, that's why I created this whole podcast. It's like I want to learn more about people, and also show the world that like just because you're from South Africa and grew up in a town that I've never heard of and all that kind of stuff doesn't mean that I don't have connection to your life like you have connection to mine, you know? So I'm getting all weepy now, but you know, it's something I'm very passionate about because I think that a lot of times, especially as a person of color, like one thing that just pisses me, this is a tangent, but the one thing that just makes me very upset right now is like in America we're having a very big issue with violence against Asian American people. And um, one thing that's making me so mad is that a lot of African Americans are saying, you know, well, they were so mean to us, and they, you know, they're terrible to us in their stores, and they don't know what it's like. We were here for 400 years as slaves, da, da, da. And I'm just like, bro, like your walk doesn't mean that your walk is superior to another culture's walk. Like you can't just say I'm I went more through more trauma than you did, so you need to stop whining. Like that just doesn't compute. Like everybody's going through something different. And that's one thing that I had learned as a young person, as a mixed young person, is that no matter if you are in Utah or if you're in Rome, like we all have different things that we go through trauma, and at the end of the day, those traumas happen usually within the home, within family, within generational stuff that comes down, and those type of things bleed out into the world. But at the end of the day, like it's those family things that like you know that makes us who we are as humans. So that was another long answer to not a question that you asked, but
I'm now imagining how you are like, in a way, the avatar for like the, uh, the Asians and the blacks.
mm.
Like, man, that must be so crazy just to see that conflict being who you are.
Yeah, it's really hard to see because I think that I I understand. Yes, black people in this country have gone through terrible, horrific things and are still. I mean, like every single day for the last week, um, a child or a black person has been shot by the police almost every day. Like it's come up either through news, social media, something. And like I weep over those things and I'm upset and I'm angry and like things need to be fixed. But then like I can't be in the space of my pain is the only pain that matters. And like even if I don't understand like the immigrant situation in this country with illegal immigrants being separated from their families and thrown in cages and all that kind of stuff. Like that doesn't mean that what they're going through is harder than what I've gone through or vice versa, you know? And it's so hard to see Asian people hate on black people in this country and black people hate on Asian people when in reality they have very similar backgrounds in like how they got to this country. There were a lot of Chinese Americans that were enslaved during slavery times here in America, but nobody, I mean, they were scalped and killed and raped and pillaged. And it's people, because it's not what's at the forefront of our minds, it's not something that's considered important. And I think that it's definitely something that, you know, you have to celebrate everyone in the world that they're in, not just what social media is telling you, what, you know, even podcasts are telling you. You have to go and do the research yourself and be an observer and a student of the world instead of just like me all day long, which I had to get through that stage too in life. So, you know, I got really dark very quickly. I'm sorry. This is why I don't like being interviewed because I go dark so fast. I go dark so fast. Um,
Well, you are speaking to the Vanta Lord, so I think it's a safe space.
the
I
man
am
who
the
wears black.
authority on all of this stuff.
Oh, that's a question I have for you, which is, would you ever, because you had made a TikTok recently about, I will never wear color. If you see me in a colored shirt, it's a lie. No cap, it's a lie. So for you, what would make you want to wear or would get you to wear a non-black shirt?
You know what? You know what? Literally, literally,
Mhm.
I oath, I oath. If me and this current crush end up dating, and with her beautiful, wonderful soul, she asks that I wear a colored shirt. I wear it.
Wow. But would you wear it and make a TikTok about it?
Well, I wouldn't let you catch me wearing it. That's another conversation. You know, sometimes I wonder about brand deals and stuff. I'm like, dude, what if like Adidas calls me and they want me to wear green, bro? Like, do I
Yeah.
like look Adidas in the eyes and say, nah? I don't know. The billboard would need to be pretty big. Like, I'm gonna need a billboard on the highway or something where I'm like running with a football and I'm like, I don't know, man, but guys, you know that like I'm a pretty I'm a pretty big super villain, yeah. Like I am the super villain. I'm the Mickey Mouse of super villains, like you know. So like you guys can't mess with the brand, yo. Can't mess with the brand.
I know. I went through your Instagram. I tried to find anything with you in color and I see nothing. Not one thing. And I'm just like, wow.
Biggest freaking brand is me in a piano in a is it like a beige or cream robe?
Oh
But
yeah, the
either way,
robe.
it's like
Yeah. I forgot about the robe, yeah.
I was actually before I became the Vanta Lord though, so that doesn't even count.
You weren't fully conditioned to be yourself. So it's like it's called training wheels. So you're just working your way up.
Yeah, yeah. I became the bachelor at 19. That is from when I was 17. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is the concept of South Africa trippy for you?
Yes. 100%. Please explain because I'll be 100% honest. I was just like, this is the thing is that in American culture, they don't teach us anything about Africa other than the fact that they said that black people come from it and it's very poor. And then when I saw Black Panther, I was like, what? It's not like I didn't know that there were obviously rich black people in Africa, but it was just like the richness and the beauty and all that kind of stuff and the dynamics and the class system and all that kind of stuff. It's like you got to go hunting for that information because otherwise you can't find it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna amp up the privilege then. I'm a for you. Yeah, nah, listen, I mean, look, Trevor Noah and Elon Musk didn't grow up like I did, so I mean they're not the place you go to find out that South Africa's actually got some pretty nice places like that whole white touchless fingerprint scanner thing. I'm sure like when I said that you were like, wait. This Reagan.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, I was sorry, Dad. I was like riding around in my dad's Mustang the other day, like, just like speeding around doing my thing. And I'm like, it's so weird. That's why like I have this perception of Africa because I was fed my perception of Africa through American media, you understand?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I have my life, which I'm not digesting as Africa because it's just life, you know. It's not like you digest your life as it's not like when you're drinking milk, you're like, this milk tastes like milk because I'm in America. No, you're just having milk.
Yeah.
So it's like me, I mean like even if you like check the architecture behind me, like that's a fridge. You
No, it's
know?
not. I thought it was a cabinet. Is it really?
Fridge.
That is crazy. I thought it was a cabinet. I thought you were in an office. Wow.
No, that's the microwave.
I thought it was a computer monitor. Oh my
No,
God. Wow.
no. Yeah. It's I live nice.
You do. You do. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the most and I'm like I can imagine if someone thought Africa was dust and then they speak to me and then they're just like, "Whoa, dude, that doesn't look like dust around you." Like, nah. And you know what's the craziest thing for me is like I'm super keen on moving to either Texas or Los Angeles. Yeah. Just because I feel like probably both. Just because I feel like Evolution will do super well there. Well, I did a lot of research, and Evolution is going to do incredibly. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I was just looking for places in Los Angeles first, and like trying to get the same thing that I'm used to here in LA. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No. Hmm. I know.
Oh, like looking like a cabinet because it's built-in thing. Like, no. That's like a $4,000 conversation in South
Yeah.
Africa. It's like a 900 conversation.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh my word! You wouldn't believe that little door. That's the dishwasher over there.
Oh, shut up.
It was, I
What
swear,
the
I swear, it's the dish.
heck?
Can you see that? It's the dishwasher.
So you really are a prince. That's what it is. I mean, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is also the nice thing about being from Africa. Like, if you flex, you're not flexing, you're educated. I, I teach my black brethren from across the pond. Watch what we live like in Africa. You know,
So
the
you
crazy thing is
definitely
like
make more TikToks about you and your posh life.
it feels so weird though because I'm used to it. So like it's so bizarre for me to now suddenly be like, guys, by the way, my family's rich. Like it doesn't feel like it. It's, it's so weird. But like like this happened a few weeks ago. Yeah, my friend like his family like his dad is I think a brain surgeon. Yeah, so like
Mhm.
they're like rich, like new
Mhm.
car every week and stuff. And he used to live in a mansion that was in like the middle of nowhere, right? And I was talking about this with him and stuff, and then he noticed that people were listening, and then as we got into the Uber, he's like, yo, dude, like you can't speak like that, dude. Like I'm like, speak like what? It's like, no, you can't say that like that I lived in a mansion in the middle of in the middle of nowhere. People think that like you're a douchebag when you talk about like privilege like that. I don't realize that that is privilege to me. You just had a
Yeah.
big ass house and a lot of land around it.
I'm just living my life, bro. Like,
Come on. You know what
oh
I'm
my
saying? It's like,
gosh.
yeah. So that's why, and I find it so interesting that it seems that like I'm probably one of the only like it's weird referring to myself as a TikToker, but I guess if I am a person who makes content on TikTok, I am a tiki-taka. Anyways,
Yeah.
yes, me. It seems like I'm the only like TikToker who has a predominantly like Northern Hemisphere fan base, predominantly American, especially, fan base, like, because 75 from America, 5 from Canada, 5 from England,
Mhm.
then I think like 6% from South Africa. I don't know how that math works out, but like those are the numbers that I remember last time I checked the analytics.
Yeah.
And I just realized I'm like, I really, because I mean, if my family's like Angolan now and I'm growing up with this Portuguese culture, yeah, my mother is your complexion, yeah.
Mhm.
So as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, I thought that like she was white. Like,
What?
because my dad is black, and he, I wouldn't say he's dark skin per se, but like it's definitely much closer to dark skin, right? So I'm like, okay, my dad is black, my mom is white. And I think I probably thought my mom was white until I was like old enough to have known better, like maybe like 12. Like maybe 12, 13, I thought my mom was white. You get me?
What? Wait, wait.
So,
So you telling me
yeah.
until you were 12, you never saw a white person?
Oh, there were tons of white people. I grew up around white people, mostly white people. Because look, if you're privileged in South Africa, you're growing up around white people, period.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
always said that like South Africa is America's little cousin. That like I promise you, last year in March, I saw Americans buying all the toilet paper, and I'm like, wow. So South Africa's really gonna have a toilet paper shortage. Okay, my homie was like, whatever America does, South Africa does it within 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, okay, boom,
Wow.
it happened. And you know what I think the theory is, yeah? South Africa with apartheid is such a young country. If we're talking about like its current version of democracy, because I think apartheid ended in like 95, yeah? So I'm born in like 98. I think my parents moved to South Africa from Angola, and you still can't wrap your mind around that. You're like,
So young.
there's,
Gosh.
there's a 9. Oh my word. It's like this girl who DM'd me who was born, like she's how old is she? 20? But there's a 2. And you in your 20s, but you were born in a year with a 2 out. Oh, that. And then you have to digest the fact that you're only 2 years older than this human being, and you're like, man, that's crazy. Okay. Okay. Point, point being, yeah, is that like you grew up around like me who grew up around white people, yeah, in a white neighborhood. I mean, I live in a white neighborhood right now, and you now think your mom is white, then you eventually come to the conclusion you're like, oh, she's not white, she's just super light skinned.
Mm.
Okay, and there are a bunch of people who think I'm mixed, and I'm like, technically, I'm not mixed if my mom is just a light skinned black woman, right? So, like, like I'm black,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Like it's a situation where it's like we said earlier, Wakanda, right? T'Challa, you
Hmm.
know. I'm just so like fascinated because I'm surprised we can understand each other. I'm like, how on earth, how on earth have different accents, but we hear everything the same?
I know. And it's like when you're talking about stuff, I was like, that's so weird. Like I was talking to my dad about a week ago. He's like, I really want to buy the Tesla truck when it comes out. And I was like, Dad, you really don't need the Tesla truck. He's like, I know, but I want one though. And I was just like, what kind of conversation is this? Like, where are we right now? He's like, I'm gonna. So we ended up putting a was it the not down payment, but the little like reserving waiting list or whatever. And I'm just like, this is
Yeah.
so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is crazy that we were very similar in backgrounds. It's kind of actually a little bit weird, but I mean, it's not as unfounded as possible, but it is very very weird.
I was just thrown for a loop here personally. I'll be honest. I'm like, how? Shouldn't like something be different? Like something small, at least. It's basically you probably answered the question. You're probably like the answer to the question of if I came back as like a woman of a different race in a different country, I'd probably end up being you.
I don't know. I feel like being a Latina woman would be awesome because that I would give that answer as well. Because like J Lo though, man, J Lo's like perfection on so many levels. Like I love that woman. Like I'm not gay, but I would be gay for J Lo. Like I love that woman. Like she's so perfect. So I mean, being a Latina woman is pretty awesome. I would assume.
If
I'm
I
not, but I would assume.
if I was a woman, I'd be gay for J Lo too. I love how I went that direction with it. Like I couldn't just say me as a straight man, I find J Lo attractive. No, no, no. But it emphasizes that I'm very very taken by J Lo.
Yes. She's so perfect. Like, oh my gosh. Like, have you seen Hustlers? I'm sure you've seen Hustlers.
I haven't, and I want to because
You
I'm the
haven't
biggest
seen.
Cardi B.
Oh my god. That was the movie where I was like, yeah, I'd be gay for J Lo. Like that. That is like you have to watch the movie. Like if you have time today, I want you to not make TikToks and watch that movie. Like it's so good. Um, how did we get on this? I don't even know. I don't even know how we got on this conversation, but
We were based how my hyper privilege within South Africa made me like the perfect specimen to be like a globally appealing, figure. I guess I don't know what you would personality. I'm not sure what the correct.
yes, and I think that to bring this all back to the whole conversation, it's like you reach out to so many people, and you have so many people that you do touch on, because the cookout thing was so perfect. Like it was so easily able to connect on people at so many different levels. Like even with I think it was Che Monster when you spoke to him about it. It was like he was asking, he's like, "Can I'm coming to the cookout, right? I'm coming to the cookout." And I'm just like, that's just so cool. Like when you do have your international cookout, I cannot wait to see how this is going to unfold. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I really want to see how you're going to do it because it's going to be epic.
Texas. The
Texas.
answer is Texas. Look, to build cities, I'm gonna need a lot of land, and there's a lot of land in Texas.
Yes, there is.
I have a bunch of like I have folders of all the land that I'm gonna buy, and most of it is in Texas.
Really?
A lot, yeah, a lot of it is in Utah as well.
Wow. Well, I was born in San Antonio, Texas, and there was like a million people there in 84, like when I was born. So probably you'd have to go away from that. And Dallas is full of people too. So I'm sure it's like land that you have to find. But yeah, Texas is huge. It is huge. It's it's so big.
The
Okay.
cookout with 3 million people is going to be in Texas.
Oh my God.
I'm really sure on 3 million in particular. Like, I want there to be 3 million people.
Really?
Because I think I read somewhere that the world's biggest concert had 3 million people or something, and I'm like, okay, if we have like 3 million or whatever that number is, plus like a few more, so let's make it 4 million. Yeah, if there's 4 million people at the cookout, and I like perform literally one song, then I officially had the biggest concert of all time, and that's my selfish agenda for this.
So, well, I think that I don't know how you're gonna. I mean, can you imagine the spread of food of all those different types of people? It's gonna be so lit. Like, oh my God. Um, wow. Well, I hope I'm coming. I hope you'll invite me to come. I don't have a TikTok that's worth duetting with, so don't duet me. But you know, but it's if it's in Texas, I will come to Texas. I mean, if you have it anywhere, I want to go because I want to be a part of 4 million people coming together at once. That's amazing. But but okay, so we've got to end this. It's been how long? I don't know how long we've been talking. Let me find. We've been talking for 4 hours. It feels like I've been talking to you for 10 minutes. Um, one, the people that are listening and the people who are watching, TikTok and Instagram. Is there anywhere else that they can connect with you? Twitter, or you have a Facebook page or anything like that?
I have a Twitter. I have a Twitter.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all your information in the show notes. But for what is your Twitter? Can you tell me what your Twitter is now? Do you remember what it is? I don't even know what mine is, honestly.
Vanta Lord.
Branding, good branding. Okay, so I'll put your information in the show notes. Have I been saying your name wrong this whole time?
Well, Agostinho.
Agostino, right?
Yeah, Agostinho.
Okay. I thought I heard Agostinho, and I was like, no, there's an H. I was like, but I'm not gonna tell this man how to say his own name.
I anglicize it, you know. I give people the whitewashed version because it's easier to just say Agostino. But it's like
Oh.
it kind of sounds in my mouth, but I'm like, I know it's easier for people to say, so I'm just like Agostino. Just like
What's the correct way of saying it?
correct is actually Agostinho.
Agostino. That's so much more.
Yes.
Okay, so my mom's name is Misuk, Misuk. And
Okay.
in America, that is not a word apparently. So they've called her Missu, Missy, Susie, Suzu. And one thing that growing up as a kid in this country, as a mixed kid in this country, I was like, I don't care who you are. If you can say Schwarzenegger, you can say Misuk. So man, with that same energy, make people say your name correctly. Like that was the name your parents gave you. Make them say it right. Like that's just how I feel. I know I'm a little fired up about that, but I'm like, if you can say Schwarzenegger, you can say other names too. So
That's when I almost changed my stage name from the Vanta Lord to Agostinho da Silva because I was like, y'all really did say Kim Kardashian, whatever the hell Kardashian even means. You can say Dan Bilzerian and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Renee Zellweger and Reese Witherspoon. Okay, Witherspoon was the Reese. That one's kind of easy, but
oh my god. But yeah, I mean, I think that this whole world is like whitewashing the saying, if it's not easy for white people to do it, then it's not valid. And I'm on the path of like, no, we had to learn all of your white culture. You can learn some names. Like it's not that hard. Um, but I'm not going to get heated and upset about this as much as I should, but I'm just saying like people should learn to say your name correctly. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I want to do this again. Um, Probably by the time you hit 1 million people, which is going to be definitely before the end of April, and you become hot and nobody will want to, everybody and their mother will want to talk to you. Please remember us little people, Vanta Lord, and remember that we exist too.
I'm going to actually say this. You're a lot. You are like much bigger to me than when Ellen will ever be. Sorry, Ellen, I love you, but I, it's a thing of like you only get to like the Ellens and the Joe Rogans and all of these people and stuff, by the time like people like you actually, saw where things were going and like gave the supports and showed the love and everything. So honestly, like it's such an honor for me to like be having this conversation with you. Like I've really just enjoyed this so much because like you can't imagine how much it means to me to like to have like no one wanting to listen to your ideas, no one wanting to hear about your story, to like actually being, getting the opportunity to just speak freely on a platform like yours, where you have everything so professionally done and wonderfully curated. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. You are so humble. For a 23-year-old, 60-year-old guy, you are so humble. You're just, you're so well spoken. I'm just like, there's this guy is lying. He's not 23. Like, it's not possible. Okay, we've got to end this. So, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to put all of the wonderful Vanta Lord's information in the show notes, so you can reach out to him. Go to TikTok. If you don't already follow this man, you need to be following him. If you are an artist, you need to be going to, oh yeah, your website. That's the thing before we hang up. Is it Volution.com?
Correct.
Okay. Go on there, put your information in there, but honestly, like, follow this man because he's going to be doing amazing things. And if you're good enough, you might be able to come to the cookout. I know I'm already coming. I invited myself, so. But thank you so much again for being on here, and I definitely can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the future because it's going to be amazing.